Hello amigos, Dr. Doug here. As we head into the holiday season, many of us will be concerned about calories and overeating and getting fat. So I thought it would be a good idea to repost an episode of a couple months ago called How to Stop Overeating. I hope you find it useful. Hello everybody, welcome to BodyTrust Weekly number 9. I'm your host, Dr. Doug. Glad you could join me. On today's show, I'd like to talk about overeating. Yeah, it's a big problem for a lot of people. In fact, ever since the 1980s speed up of production in the workforce, obesity started to climb in the United States, I'm talking about, where I live. So that's when it started going up. Before then, it held level. And now 2/3 of Americans are officially considered overfed, carrying too much weight. You only get that weight, by the way, from eating. It only comes from food. It doesn't come from chemicals. It doesn't come from water or air. Fat is, in fact, 9 calories per gram of food storage. You could look at your fat cells as food storage containers. If your food storage containers are so full that they're bursting, well, you have overeaten and you're carrying too much weight to be optimally healthy. So let's talk about that. And by the way, those enlarged fat cells, this is a little bit of a review. Those enlarged fat cells secrete estriol, which keeps us nice and happy in 3 ways. And eating, and just the act of eating stimulates dopamine. Bing! You know that feeling where you get a reward. Yeah, food, yum. That's all kinds of rewards, right? That's just one of them, but that happens to be a very popular one because it's everywhere and it makes people money, lots of money, the food industry. And it's cheap in most modern societies. Calories are cheap, so people eat to feel better, not physically better, as we'll learn, but mentally better. They want that dopamine kick. That's what all addictions are about, by the way, that dopamine kick. So your body tells you, my body tells me, when to stop eating so that you won't gain weight. Isn't that amazing? Because the human body is genius and it counts calories. Más o menos. It does. You need a little plate of bacon, and before long, your body will say, okay, so you need a big plate of watery vegetables and more food, but it takes longer for your body to say, okay, that's all. You know, but in order to hear this or feel what the body is telling us, we have to eat without distractions. You can't be distracted. If you're going to eat, think about your cat or your dog and how they love you, love. But when they're eating, don't bother them. They don't like it. Try it. They don't like it. If they're really hungry, I'm not going to let you touch them. Well, you should be the same way with your food and your body. Always attentive to the body's messages that will tell you stop. You know, the first thing is the flavor. The deliciousness starts to go down within 1 bite. I kid you not. I used to eat tons of sugar. Oh man, I'll tell you someday about my adventures with sugar. But anyway, I'd go into a store and buy a Snickers bar and eat the whole thing without thinking. See, now if I buy and eat, which I don't, but if I were to eat a Snickers bar, the first bite would be, yow. And the second bite would be, that's pretty good. The third bite would start to taste probably like, kind of gummy, kind of, yeah, you know, not as delicious, for sure. It's my body saying, psst, hello, are you listening? Stop. So I do. But if you keep going, then within one bite, you start to feel a bloat in the abdomen, in the middle part of your body here, where the stomach is. Now, you know, really obese people are always bloated down there. And so it's hard for them to hear one more little bit of bloat. But they can, if they train themselves to eat without distractions. This is the key. This is the key. Now, I have a system to help people listen to their bodies when they're eating. It's called Hunger Awareness Training. I've been using it for 20 years, gotten a lot of great success, and brought people up to new levels of eating consciousness. You know, I put up people on a 5-point scale. 1 is really hungry, 2 is hungry. You have to be lean to feel hunger. 3 is comfortable. That's where we like to be. 4 is full. We don't like to be there. We're putting on weight. 5 is stuffed, like I used to do at Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know, that's what you're supposed to do, right? I'm not doing any more of it. They're really in pain. Anyway, that's the 5-point scale. Now, hunger is an empty feeling in the stomach area. It's not headaches or weakness or fatigue or all kinds of reasons why you're supposed to eat. Right? No, it's an empty feeling in the stomach area that prepares you and motivates you to go to work and get food. Yeah. So when you're starting hunger awareness training, I always have people attend to 3, 4, and 5 because we want to stop adding to the problem. If you're continuously eating to 4 and 5, then you really need to eat without distractions so that you feel the pain. Because the more you feel the pain, the harder it is to keep doing it. If you tell a kid to not stick his hand in the fire, he's going to do it. If you say, now, if you stick that hand in your fire, I want you to feel the pain. Do what you want. Stick his hand in the fire, and that'll be the last time he ever does that. Right. Well, that's how it is with hunger awareness training. You get to the point where you can't overeat. It's hard to overeat. Doesn't matter how delicious the food is. It ain't as delicious as it was one bite ago, and you just don't want to do it. But you have to eat without distractions. So no alcohol or pot, very distracting. Stop thinking about money and relationships. They're not going to help you eat. They're not going to help you listen to your body. It's time to listen to your body when you eat, when you do things with your body. Minimal socializing, or none, for a while. Some people have to just cut off their, oh, let's go have dinner. Oh, let's have lunch. No, let's have a drink. Let's go to Starbucks and get some coffee. Oh, we're supposed to have lunch. Well, I'm not eating lunch today. Anyway, no work. Don't eat at your workstation. Are you kidding? They don't do that in Europe. It's dirty. No TV. Don't eat in front of the TV. TV is going to distract you like crazy. Or the computer, too. Shut it down for a few minutes, huh? No, it takes you 10 minutes. Don't eat when you're driving. Don't eat when you're bicycling, when you're skateboarding, or when you're walking forward. Right. Now, I am available for HAT, Hunger Awareness Training, by video, phone, or in person if you live in LA or Orange County, or want to fly in for the weekend. So that's all, amigos. Good talking with you this week. Hola, amigos. Dr. Doug here. With the holiday season upon us, I know there's going to be a lot of worrying and hurrying and scurrying and just general craziness. And so I thought I would replay an interview I did a few months back with Linda Modaro, who is a meditation teacher. You could really use some meditation about this time, couldn't you? I would call her up, arrange a private session, or join one of her classes. Learn to meditate. And here is Linda Modaro with Sati Sangha. Hi, Linda.
Hi, Doug.
Linda, you teach meditation, a very unusual kind of meditation. I believe the name is Sati Sangha. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Kind of. I'll tell you a little more. I have a nonprofit organization called Sati Sangha.
Sati Sangha.
Right. And I chose the name because Sati means mindfulness in the language of the Buddha, in Pali. And it's a very complex word. And most people think it only means being present or being in the moment. But it actually has many more nuances of recollection, reflection, discernment, and memory. So I used the word because, you know, I'm attracted to foreign cultures. I just have always wanted to be Asian. And I found myself being raised in America, and this is a way that I can kind of blend the cultures.
You're a licensed acupuncturist, correct?
I am.
You studied Chinese medicine.
I studied Chinese medicine. I'm an acupuncturist.
What else have you studied? A lot.
A lot. But I would say the focus of my teaching has been Qigong, Tai Chi, meditation, acupuncture, herbology. And I haven't just been recently studying more psychology and philosophy.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You mentioned something about trusting the mind.
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept. Could you elaborate on that a little bit, Linda?
Yeah. Well, especially since I'm talking to a person who trusts the body.
Yeah.
We are in
yin and yang are of equal value.
Yin and yang are
Correct.
of equal value, right? And what I had found early on in my practices is that I was really only trusting the body for a while, and that I was kind of hoping my mind would catch up. And I found that meditation, especially meditation that's permissive and allows you to think and feel and really be yourself within it, helps develop the mind and leads the mind to understand itself and to be able to discern when it's telling a story that's false or completely off track, so to speak. And when are you closer to what's really important for you and what's real, and developing qualities of kindness and gentleness. And
we would call that appropriate Shen.
Yes, and we call
Chinese medicine.
Exactly. There's a Pali word for appropriate. It's samma.
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 How do you spell that?
S-A-M-M-A.
S-A-M-M-A. Samma.
Samma. And we talk about appropriate speech, appropriate action, appropriate Shen, appropriate...
Oh, that's starting to sound like Buddhism.
Aha.
It
is. Disclaimer, I teach meditation is based on early Buddhist philosophy and psychology.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
great. Yeah. So why do you combine meditation with reflection? What's the connection there?
Yeah. Well,
I've heard this talked about.
With other people too?
Yeah, I heard it in the
nice.
News or something.
That's nice. Yeah, I think it's catching on a bit. Reflection is not a quality that comes naturally to people. I think that it's something that gets learned and developed. Although we are self-reflective beings, we have that capacity inbred, but it's not often something that is prioritized. And going back to what I had said at the beginning around sati, mindfulness, having this in the moment aspect, it also has a reflection aspect to it. And so the meditation I teach, I call it reflective meditation, so that people sit and then afterwards they learn from their mind by reflecting back on what happened. What actually did I experience in meditation? So that your wisdom comes much more from your experience rather than an external authority or a book you read or somebody who told you how to meditate. You're learning from what goes on
from yourself.
From yourself, exactly.
That is interesting.
Yeah,
it's
yeah. And the mind becomes much more trustworthy when you start to know it and are friends with it, rather than it's the persecutorial enemy. Something like that. Okay, too big of a word.
We keep it simple, though.
Yes, we should try. We should try.
Well, when and where did you first learn to meditate? What was that experience like?
That's interesting. I first learned to meditate in the 80s. And it was in your tradition, I would say, Taoist tradition. Yeah. Yeah, and it was a much more guided meditation. It was something where I was guiding energy to certain organs, and then
Right.
you know,
Starts to sound like qigong.
qigong. It was like a sitting qigong, and so therefore.
Was that at Emperor's or
No,
Yosan? That was
in
Yosan, right?
yeah, in Georgia. No,
Oh, in
Atlanta,
Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Are you from?
No,
Georgia?
I was living there at the time. Yeah, I don't know. Should I tell my medical experience? No, I won't. But anyway, as I had acupuncture and symptoms that I had had for years cleared up with one treatment.
Wow.
So I got some magical results that led me in the direction of studying qigong, meditation, tai chi. Yeah.
Huh. So that was back in the 80s when you started doing this,
yeah.
right? And then you developed your own take on this. Is that correct?
Yes. You know, it's. I think this is an important question. I studied with many people, and I went really deep into certain traditions and certain people's their study, and I was a very good mimic. So I could easily kind of pick something up and parrot it back.
You'd be good in ballet.
I was a young ballerina. I'm not an old one yet.
You have to mimic if you want to be a ballet dancer. Okay,
yeah,
so
and that's what
the hard way.
And that's what I started in.
Okay.
But that transition from being a mimic to finding your own path, they blend at times, and then at sometimes you're thrown out of the nest, and there you are, and all of the teachings that you have kind of come together in unique ways, and you develop those, and then you call it your own for a while. So right now I'm calling it reflective meditation, but it's not my own, and yet it's my own.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What is meditation over the years? How has it helped you? What has it done for you? Is it?
I feel like I'm less crazy. I'm not.
So you would recommend it for crazy people?
Yeah, I would. If you feel crazy.
We're all crazy.
I know, exactly. That's right.
Because we live in a crazy society, right? So we're
Yeah.
constantly swimming upstream, trying to counteract this.
Right.
You know, and my classroom lecture is on hurrying.
Yeah, that's.
So I wanted you to be, you know, the icing on the cake here. Right? So, who in particular would you recommend your program for?
You know, it seems that I do well working with people that need a little guidance, and they actually need to be listened to and heard, that they're just kind of swimming out there among all this material and they really don't know where to land. So through our discussions, we kind of find a place where you land, and it's not where I would land, it's where the person who wants to meditate lands. So that's what I'm interested in, and that helped me tremendously, and I feel like that's what I'd like to give back.
You teach groups, is that right?
I do.
She flies all over the world. My goodness, this woman. People knock on her doors at night and day, right? Where are you going next?
New Mexico, New Zealand, and Australia.
Holy mackerel.
Yeah. Holy mackerel, yes. It's really nice to have a few friends that live in different places of the world.
Sure.
These are not large
groups. The world's getting smaller, isn't it?
The world is getting smaller. Getting smaller, and my groups are small. My groups tend to be anywhere from 3 to 10 people. And so it's really for people that need a little bit more individual attention or want that. And I do groups in person and online. So mostly in Southern California in person, but online, people from all over the world. My friends come together on the groups, group calls.
And do you have, what's coming up? For Santa Monica, you were planning a new group for where I live.
Isn't that funny? I've been where we live. We just recently met the last 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. You know, I like radicals, so I like Doug. I feel like he's a radical. What he teaches is radical, and that really resonates with me. And then also translating radical into usable information, usable experience, and staying close to that.
That's what I've noticed about you. You're a very practical person.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Oh, then
You
I've
are
changed
practical.
because I've been very idealistic. I
Well,
mean,
you're idealistic, but you're also practical. I mean,
that's nice,
you know,
right?
that's yin and yang.
Right, the
You know, so I
combination.
see that combination in you.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. That's very, very
But we
nice
got
to
something
say.
coming up in Santa Monica soon, right?
In November, I'm going to be starting up my groups again online, and then also adding in a group monthly in Santa Monica. I haven't taught where I live for years. It's been really hard for me to get a group going here, and so I'm going to try it again.
Is that because there's so much of this?
Yeah,
In,
I think so.
Santa Monica.
Yeah. So it's nice. Thank you for asking to talk to me, because I think maybe even if one or two of you are interested in meeting or have any questions, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Small audience.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Better, more individual attention.
Yeah.
And you progress faster. Yes. So when you retire, if you ever do retire, is there someone like? Do you have someone to take over this enormous worldwide enterprise?
Yes, actually, I do. I train teachers, and this is another thing that I love to do. Is I train meditation teachers.
Training teachers is good. Yeah.
And I bring this approach, or orientation, that basically meditation teachers, no matter what style they're teaching, this approach can be used in a parallel tandem way with the
Sati
material.
Sangha.
Sati Sangha, and it will continue, I hope.
Good. Now, how can people get in touch with you? You have a website.
Best way is through the website,
cool.
which has
and a
my
newsletter too.
Well, yeah, it is actually a monthly email newsletter. You can sign up for that.
What is your address?
It's https, that one, satisangha.org. SATISANGHA.org.
Great. Well, that's terrific, and I think that people should get in touch with you, because we need to find a way out of the swirling craziness that is this life in Los Angeles, the United States, and the world. So I highly recommend Ms. Linda Modaro.
Thank you, Doug.
And her meditation course. Thanks once again for being with me.
You're so welcome. You did a great job.
Hello, amigos. Please subscribe to my show and share it with your friends. Also, click that little bell so that you will receive notice every time I post a new episode.